Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today's panel. I'll be your moderator, and I'm really happy to be here with three amazing and successful women in the IT industry, both in Web 2 and Web 3. Today, we'll try to navigate through the topics related to pursuing a career in Web 3 and all the challenges and opportunities that one might encounter there. So in the opening panel, we had it was quite interesting, and we heard many interesting things on embracing diversity and inclusion in tech. So I'd like to open with a topic based on your experience as being woman in the tech industry. What challenges have you faced in your career, and then maybe more importantly, transitioning to Web 3? What's different in Web 3? Is it any different? Does it embrace more diversity, more inclusion? Ida, we can start with you.
Sure. Thank you, and hi, everyone. Nice to see you. So I start just to give a bit of a context. My background is actually from the Web 2 industry, and I've been working in digital marketing development and strategy consulting for the last 13 years. And part of it was definitely IT part, where we started from the marketing, but then it was apps development, websites, platforms, etc., etc. I have to say, in Web 2, it was I didn't notice a specific challenges. Luckily, I was surrounded by really great people. The fact was that specifically in the IT, there is less women present in general. We did have female colleagues in the team, not maybe so much from the engineering side. So I think this is the topic that is always on and on. And I don't know. I wouldn't say there is a challenge, but I would say there is still unequal amount of women versus men. In Web 2, it started growing, so it started going in the direction of becoming, I would say, more equal, although not completely, and we've seen some statistics before. But if we are talking about Web 3, Web 3 is something new, and whenever there is something new, it's also risky, because you cannot estimate what will happen. So I see there is also a lot more guys still in Web 3 than female, but I also see a growing trend of ladies entering Web 3. And I think things like this and conferences like this are the ones who are actually helping in highlighting this, because it's easier to envision yourself in some industry when you see somebody who is more like you. So if you're a girl, it's easier to envision yourself in the industry if you see more girls. So yep. I think there are I wouldn't say challenges in my personal perspective, just still not the similar amount and the levels of girls versus guys.
Thank you. Anna Maria, you also had experience in both Web 2 and Web 3. Did you have any challenges?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Okay, yeah. Good. Mic check. So I'm coming from, I started my career back in PayPal in Ireland, which is as you know, a big corporation. And I would say that, the big corporations, especially in IT teams, they still have a lot of guys, and, the girls don't even feel really there that they should be applying for these opportunities, because they consider themselves it's a no, because there is this guy who's, great in coding and he's going to get it. Because we kind of all grow up really experiencing that label at home. This is a female job, this is a male job, from simple examples dad is cutting the grass. But if mom likes to cut a grass and she really enjoys it, she should do it. It's okay for her to do it, right? Of course, it's great to get that support from, her husband, but if she really enjoys it, let her do it. So I think, we should really start practicing unlabeling these things from small ages, early age, so that the kids can, later on don't feel hey, I'm a girl, I should not do it. I'm a weaker, sex than a male. And then in PayPal, I was the only girl in the team, so it was 10 guys and me. We were doing night shifts for 10 hours because we were on the fire attacks, cybersecurity side. So we were basically doing hacking for good and stopping these, these things. And I didn't, like, because I grew up with the guys, I was playing games, you know, I had my own servers, so Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, some of you guys probably know these games. So I didn't really feel discriminated or, you know, like I don't belong to them. I felt great, but I can definitely, you know, imagine someone who is not coming from that kind of a background area, coming to that world and then like, what do I do here? Like, they all go to breaks and they play football. I drink my coffee because I feel like I don't belong there, right? Yeah. So it is kind of challenging. And like in Web3 now, like in crypto, like in general, like in all the companies that I kind of worked, I definitely see more of that inclusion, diversity, because we are recently starting to really push that diversity, you know, like just not only in Web3, like just across every industry, we are more aware that, you know, women do deserve like, you know, opportunities across every industry. So, yeah.
Thank you. Based on some researchers, there was always, in the past, maybe even today, there was always a gap, even in salaries between men and women. Ines, in Web3, is it any different? What's your experience based on that?
Maybe I want to share two facts. Like I learned this recently. UN did some analysis based on salaries and you know how women are included in these software jobs. So by their statistics, there is a goal, United Nations goal, by 2030 we should kind of have some equality, right? That's I think set up in 2000, 2005 or something. So now they did analysis, and this is an information maybe a week old or 2 weeks old. They said that we will reach this equality in 2300 years, like 2300.
That's far from now.
That's how fast we are going in the equality, right? So on the other side, there is a fact that blockchain as an industry still has software jobs, mostly, like 85 to 95% is the software. If we look at it, that's a man-dominated industry. That's a fact. So if we have these two facts, and then on the other hand, we have a fact that we as a woman, like anyone, as females, right? What we always go with it that we don't know something. While any guy in the room, even if he doesn't know 100% of the story, right, of the facts, will go in the discussion. They're way more aggressive, where we are not. And I think that's one of the biggest gaps, that we don't go as aggressive as they go and grab stuff. Mostly from the fact that, that's my personal opinion, that we go way deeper. And we try to understand the cores, and we don't want to look stupid when we go and talk, etc., etc. So I think we also create this misbalance. Also, I think that we overcomplicate things. And definitely in the Web3 industry, I can see by myself, by being a female founder, right, there are challenges, and there is a difference. It's different when I go to talk to the client, there where my main developer goes to talk to the right, so it's different level of questions, right? Yeah. And they get surprised when actually I know more facts than my developer. Then that's where the gap comes, but I think it's lovely space, and it's one of the rare industries, I will call it an industry, where actually you can get a chance. Yeah. I think you can get a chance, everyone's gonna give you a chance.
I have something to add.
Okay, okay.
Anna Maria, you have something to add?
Yeah, I do agree in certain points, but I have to say that I truly believe and stand behind that it's all about the mindset. So maybe the reason because I never felt discriminated because it was in my head. Like I never saw myself as a weak female or a weak human being. Let's not even use female or male. I never seen myself like, you don't know that, you shouldn't do it. Like in first year when I moved to Ireland, I changed like 11 jobs. And the reason because of that, because I kept getting something new, something more interesting. And it was all around, like it was not crypto at all. It was not Web3. It was not even like financial industry. It was just like tourism or coffee shops or all the other things, right? The first month when I arrived, I didn't know where I live, right? I didn't know how to find my home. I was like saying to the bus driver, hey, can you just let me know where I need to drop off and I'll jump from the bus, right? But the point is like, I would basically go to the toilet, Google stuff to find out, come back, and I would know. So honestly, I truly be like everything we do in life generally, just about the mindset. If you believe you can do it, you can really do it. Maybe you will struggle, but it's about your really wish, how strong you want to do it.
Yeah. Ida, you had something to add?
First of all, I just want to say how street smart you are, and I admire that. On the other side, I get what you're saying, but I also get what Ines is saying, because there is a little bit of truth in everything. Just like we were talking about the salaries. You have two types and approaches to the salaries. One are corporations who have specific levels. If you're getting hired on a specific level, you are getting a specific salary, regardless of you're a guy or a girl. The second one is startups or non-corporates, where you actually need to negotiate your salary. And I've read somewhere, and I completely agree from the experience, the fact that females will go and negotiate for the salary based on what they did and what their results are. And this goes back to the imposter syndrome. You don't want to come up stupid. And then the guys are negotiating for the salary for the opportunity of what he might do if he gets that salary in the future. It's a completely different approach. And I think it makes all of the difference, and it comes to you having much more abilities and faith in yourself. To do this.
And I honestly think that I did see that before in the past, you guys, doing that. But I kind of want to always, when we have these discussions about gender opportunities and salaries and stuff, I want to even kind of try to get out of that being a gender subject, more skills subject. I've been, and happy to see Bays actually here. I've been there. They have girls who are doing great job, right? And they're really equally, appreciated. And same at MoonPay now as well. I've started there basically when it was 6-7 people, and then later on we hired very senior people, senior girls, senior boys, right? They got more money than me, probably, maybe, yeah. But I'm happy for that, because it's, it keeps that growing opportunities for everyone. If we were all stagnating, that's. Yeah.
And this is maybe, sorry to jump in, but this is maybe where Web3 is better in a way, because how Web3 operates, it's getting much more now mainstream, so it's coming closer to Web2, but Web3 in its essence, it's not about the name and the surname and the email and everything. It's about the avatar and the username and the wallet. And in this kind of ecosystem, sometimes you don't even know, and you're paying with crypto or different ways. So sometimes you don't even know who is working for you, also specifically in DAOs. You don't need to know who is working for you. People are judged and awarded or punished based on what they do and how they perform, not what their name and surname is, or their, you are earning your credibility and your reputation sometimes without even people knowing who you actually are as a real person. And I think in that sense, Web3 is opening even maybe much more opportunity for a more equal approach, because then nobody has this bias of who you are. I was at a conference 2-3 years ago in Belgrade. It was a closed wave conference. It was there was a head recruiter of one of the biggest, the tech companies, and he shared with us one thing, and this is that in the pre-recruitment, they are actually using AI tools. But then they realized that the AI tools were flawed because the guys who were programming these AI tools, so the models they made were actually made in a way that they are prioritizing Indian guys from Ivy League universities, preferably, California or MIT or stuff like that. So even if you are trying to be more objective and use the computers and the AI, it's also about how they are trained and modeled. So I think it's still something that we kind of need to figure out.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Before we continue, don't forget to use the QR code above to submit your questions. We'll go through them at the end of the panel. Not to make this another diversity panel, I'm curious about some things regarding careers in Web3. Ines, maybe you can start. You all switched from Web2 to Web3. Why would I, as an individual right now in Web2 industry, what's in there for me in Web3? How is it different than the Web2 tech industry? And what are the opportunities there that are not in Web2? Why would I switch to Web3?
the next blockchain, the next internet is blockchain. That's what's in it for you, right? The earlier you get in, the earlier you're gonna understand the whole system. And I think at the moment, blockchain is maybe not for everyone. If we look at the Web3 as an industry, right? I look at it as a huge startup. Because what are we doing in the moment, right? We are just making up ideas, we are creating something, we are failing, we are losing money, we are gaining money, we are losing money, we are gaining money, and that's
mostly losing money.
Kind of, that's kind of a game at the moment. So I would say in that sense that there is a space for everyone, but again, we're coming on the topic of mindset. If you wanna be a pioneer, if you want to be part of the startup, blockchain is for you. If you cannot be in that kind of an environment, blockchain is not for you. Like, I think here, whoever, like most likely two of you, like as well, do you wear more hats? Like, it's like any startup. So any blockchain company, anyone who works in a blockchain company wears more hats. If you ask anyone from marketing, they don't do just marketing. So there is a lot of space and there is a career development plan. I think that it's a future, right? But I do not think that it's for everyone at the moment. People who strive more for some security or, that there is no much shaking, etc., that they have someone that's going to tell them do this and this today. I think it's better for them to stay in some corporations or that established systems. But blockchain is rather more for people that want to be creative, want to learn something new, or challenge themselves, and people who are ready to play startup game.
Yeah. You mentioned the whole Web3 mindset, so and everyone is talking about the Web3 mindset needed to be in the space. Ida, can you tell more about that? What kind of mindset is that it's required to be successful in the space and to be long-term in the game?
Let me first, if I can ask you guys one question. Who out of you is working in Web3, if you can raise your hand? Okay, and how many of you are working in Web2? Raise your hand. Okay, still a bit more. So I like to come back to the beginning of the 2000s, when the Web2 was actually starting, when the social media was starting. It was something unexplored, it was something new, and I worked in one of the first digital agencies in the region. And I remember we were just kids after university, having fun, putting clients on Facebook and telling them this is the future. And majority of them were looking at us like we were crazy, but there were enough people over there, so they were like, okay, let's experiment, whatever. And now we see where it all went. Like it's the default these days. So I have a feeling, and I think, and I see this, that Web3 now is where Web2 was maybe 15 years ago. So for those of you who are working in Web2, I don't need to tell you, you know what you are doing every day, but ask yourself, how much are you growing at this moment? Or how much is it like copy-paste of what we've already done, change colors, do something different a little bit? But how much are you actually putting yourself out of the comfort zone with your everyday job? I think Web3 is for those who have a mindset that they want to learn, they want to grow, and they want to jump on the train that is leaving for the next station and be part of creation and not just be part of implementation. Now is the time for the creatives, for the builders, and I don't necessarily agree. It can seem like a more risky choice, but if we see how many tech companies, consulting companies have been firing recently, I just think like the biggest risk you can do at this point is to stagnate and not work on yourself. And Web3 is definitely your ticket for the future. So I think that part of the mindset is something where I think people who have it should be considering Web3 right now already.
And one thing, if I can add, I think wanting we entering Web3 or not, it's going to happen. So the adoption is going to come with time, right? It might not come to everyone at the same time, but it's all about the business, right? So why are we seeing all these a lot of traditional companies look at the Visa and MasterCard entering Web3? Because they want to stay innovative, they want to stay competitive, they want to continue earning and growing. So all their employees as well will have to learn, adapt, and get to it if they want to continue basically doing the day-to-day job. So I think the earlier you get in, you're going to get more opportunities for yourself to grow and being one of the first ones, successful ones. So
yeah. People are usually still, they're afraid of entering Web3 because of many different reasons. One of them is correlating it with the price of all the cryptocurrencies and everything. What's your opinion on how do bull and bear markets affect the whole industry and the whole motivation for working in Web3?
Yeah. Well, often when I do some hiring, the first question is like, so what do you guys do when everything is down? And I mean, how do you survive? And then the question back and also signal for me on that interview is that that person is maybe not still educated enough to understand that it's not about the bull bear market, all of that, right? Investment opportunity, but it's about the technology. So, when it's quiet, you build, you prepare for what's coming. So there is definitely a fear, like I often get asked, and I'm sure, most of you who are working in this area, hey, we are reading a lot of this that, everything is down now. Are you guys okay? Are you still getting your salary and stuff? Yeah, I mean, of course. I think the fear is going to be breaking down when we start educating more, because the fear comes from lack of education.
Do you have anything to add?
No, I really agree. We say the bear market is our favorite time because there is not so much noise. And when there is not so much noise around you, you can actually gather people who believe in the technology, who believe in whole decentralization approach and start building. In the bull market, it's all like you never know who is entering because of the money, who is entering because they want to try. So there is a lot of noise, and that's why this time is actually the best time.
Yeah. Anna Maria mentioned hiring in the company. How do you find skilled people? Ines, maybe you as a founder of a tech company, how do you find people that you would like to hire and employ? And is there a lack of talent on the market regarding the Web3 education and everything?
Is there a lack? You can also say that. I think that there are lots of developers. I mean, we know that for a fact. To me, the biggest challenge is to find people that fit the mentality of the company that they want to build. What Ida also mentioned, a lot of people come into blockchain because of money. And when money is not your focus, rather on creating and building, making the infrastructure, making it work, right, scaling the blockchain, and that's the biggest challenge. How do I get someone? How do I recognize it early enough that someone is here for the technology and to build and not to just make money, right? That's one of the biggest challenges, at least, that I'm facing. Another one is that people do not educate themselves, as she said. We have a program of trying to put people, not just developers, but people from Web 2 to Web 3. And the biggest challenge is that they would say that they know something that they don't know, and they know because they read. They read. They don't try. They don't use blockchain. That's the biggest challenge. To me, let's take marketing as an example. If you want someone to write blogs for you, to run your socials, this person needs to know what's blockchain. This person needs to have a wallet. This person needs to know what are bridges, what are different coins, what are different networks. It has to understand the dictionary of blockchain in order to write, right? In many cases, this is not an example. Even if we read social media, we can see does the person knows what's blockchain or it doesn't know, based on the posts.
Is it something that you try to find out during the interview process or something, and you don't hire people that don't have that education at all, or
you
educate them in the company?
The interview process.
Yeah.
But I prefer if someone tells me, no, I don't know, but I want to learn.
Yeah.
So the whole marketing team that we have at the moment, they didn't know anything, right? Now we have, again, one person joining marketing and she doesn't know anything. But then we have a program of 6 months where they go through learning process. And we tell them, this is also your trial period, not for our company, but would you stay in blockchain? Is this interesting for you? Because we did see the people leave after a few months.
Yeah.
It hurts, right, when you tell them this sucks, this is not good, or it's not good enough. And in Web2, they were rocks. So.
Yeah. Thank you. Anna Maria.
Yeah, I wanted to add to that. What I found very interesting is that the most successful people that we hired are the ones who are experts in their professional areas, have some basic knowledge about blockchain technology, went through training, and then basically stayed, but had culture as addition to that. We have like first initial screening calls where we basically, see the culture fit, because it's always easier to work with someone who's, able to be humble, showing, ownership skills, dedication, communicating clearly, driving by the improvements, understanding how data is important, using the, strategic approach to things. Because we use strategic approach every day in like simple things from, driving to the shop and thinking about what are you going to buy first, what do you need more, how much money do you, so all these things come like naturally if someone has it. And later on, like it's always kind of go through some training, especially for like blockchain stuff. So I think that's kind of the ideal hiring in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because you need these people on these positions, right? You need them to do their job sufficiently, correctly, accurately, and you can always teach them the rest.
And it also, I would say, it depends what kind of Web3 company you are. Because like entering Web3, it's not like this is one type of the company and that's it. Yeah. It's like in Web2, you have so many different companies. And like I work for a regional hub that is hub of a protocol. Like protocol is, you have a foundation above it. So it's a lot of actually corporate type of approach. So you need different skilled people for a different type of Web3 work. And that's why I'm saying like, you don't need to be a developer or I don't know, like tech person to enter Web3. Web3 needs experts from many different areas. But what we realized, nevertheless, regardless of which area you want to get a job in Web3, it's about attitude. What Ines said, like you really need to be interested in Web3. And the biggest reason why you need to be interested in Web3 is because you guys know how fast Web2 is evolving. So add this to 10x speed-wise, and this is what you will get in what kind of speed the Web3 is evolving. So you really need to have interest in this privately in order to be a successful professional in Web3 in general. So we look at this, and when this is not the case, people also see like very fast if this is for them or this is not. I mean, Ines and I used to work on some stuff together, and it was very clear like who comes and just like realizes great Web2 professionals, but then realizes, guys, this is too much for me. Okay, call me in 10 years. Yeah. Get your shit together and then call me. But yeah, it's just like it's a young industry, and it's really, you enter, you build it away as well.
Yeah, and one thing to add, I think, I would say that 70% of like the entire Web3 story is about the culture. And a lot of people coming from corporations, traditional operating companies, are not even aware until they actually start their position how different this is. I had people coming to me like, hey, can I bring my kid to a kindergarten? I'll be back in an hour. Like, I hope this is okay. Writing the entire email, like apologizing, like, shaking down, like he's... And I'm like, sure, of course, you can do this every day if you need to. It's your kid.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, wow, okay, thank you. I think it's really about the culture. These people, they're not, still familiar with the remote work, which for probably 90% of us here is normal, hybrid approach, being in the office, working from the coffee shop, working from the car. It's the ownership of your task and what you need to do. You deliver it. If you're going to deliver it on your toilet, or you're going to deliver it in your car or in the office, cool, right? So the adaptation to the entire thing is still going to take some time.
The whole Web3 concept is about giving the power back to the people and self-governance and self-responsibility, which can sometimes be tricky. Because if you get more power and more responsibility, this means that there's more on you. And job-wise, it's the same. I mean, I don't know about how it is like in your, but we don't have a fixed holiday. It's not like you have 20 days, 25 days, you know? Go whenever you want. On the other side, you know what you have to do. And like if you organize to redistribute, it's very flexible. It's completely different way. And this kind of approach works for some people. For the other people, they like to work and then know these 20 days I'm out or 30 days I'm out and that's it. It's just a completely different lifestyle. It's much more flexible, but it involves much more maybe than self-governance and responsibility. It takes some time to adopt. But I think once you get adopted, you realize how much how much life can be actually better.
Yeah, and then there is this group of people that, we also need to adapt to because they still want to do their 9 to 5, but they're very interested in Web3. They really enjoy, they really want to, work in your company, but they really want to have their 9 to 5. They want to know that at 5 o'clock they can close their laptop, do whatever, have some family time, which is okay. We can always, accommodate these kind of people as well. So it's,
You mentioned how the whole market changes fast. So me, as a newcomer to Web3, how do I keep up with everything going on there? How do I keep up with all the changes, with all the updates every day, with all the news?
I think
what would you suggest me?
Like Web3 is all about community. So Twitter, Discord, just like find the stuff that you're interested in and join the community because the best way how you can learn is actually connecting to those people, talking to them. And by community, I mean online community, but also offline communities. Luckily, there is more and more events like this and meetups all across the region, but I would also motivate everybody who is really interested in that, go to a couple of international conferences. Like these, because it's so young, there is not a lot of people still. So it's very easy to meet people and it's very easy to build your global network right away. Much easier than in Web2. Like you go to 3 main conferences and you basically know half of the Web3 world. Like, so it's very easy at this point. And I think this is the right way to go. And then like join Twitter, follow some interesting influencers and then follow the people they follow. And I don't know.
Stalk them a
little bit, stuff like that. It's very easy, simple, straightforward. I have to say, I've been on many Web2 and Web3 conferences so far, and it's much easier. People are much more approachable on Web3. Like everybody's just like coming to you, hey, what do you do? Hey, what do you do? Like I remember we were in Lisbon on one of the conferences, and after like 4 days of conference and 4 parties and everything, we were standing in front of the party venue waiting for a taxi at 4 a.m. And there was like this American guy from American Web3 startup coming to us like, hey, what do you do? So it's basically, this is the Web3 world. Everybody's very curious and eager to meet each other, so much more open.
Yeah, 100%. I would like also to add here, don't forget the basics. If you're entering this world, I mean, I've entered this world maybe 2014, 15. And you really need to go through some basics, like, which if you don't, you're going to struggle a little bit more to understand why is all of this here happening? What are they talking about, right? Even the conferences, technical ones might be for the juniors a little bit too much, right? Again, depends on the agenda. But yeah, the conferences would be a very good way to meet people who can then, share their knowledge with you. I've experienced that myself, and I think it was pretty useful. And you get a mentor, you get someone who's going to send you a bunch of stuff that you're probably not going to read in, a long period of time, but you get to it eventually when you figure out that you need it. But the Web3 conferences are definitely different than the regular ones. I went to one in Vegas now in last year in March, and everyone was like wearing a suit, casual payments conference. I was 26 back then, speaking at the stage. Everyone was 50 plus. I was like, okay, I feel like I'm on in a police or something. So yeah, this is more like laid back. You can approach everyone and just, as you
and
said.
You don't need to buy any more clothes
exactly,
ever, because you get so much
T-shirts
merch.
and that's it, yeah.
Ines, regarding the whole career in Web3, what do you think? Is it future-proof? Is it something that is here to stay? What would you say to people entering the Web3?
Definitely. As I said in the beginning, I think that's the next internet, right? But maybe what I would just suggest everyone, I did that when I started with the blockchain. You know, from Game of Thrones, you know nothing, Jon Snow. It doesn't matter how much you know. Go with that attitude. You're gonna learn faster. Just go and ask questions. Ask and ask and ask and let people explain you. And maybe if anyone wants to really enter Web3, start following spaces on Twitter. I think that that's a resource of huge knowledge. Like you can ask questions, you can engage with the community, and you can get the information directly from the founders of the blockchain, like people who really every day directly work on the technology itself. And I think that's one of the resources that people should have. And
it's
definitely
like speaking with Elon Musk. I mean, not, but basically you can reach those people much easier.
You can reach them on Twitter and they're quite everyone responsive. But definitely, I think blockchain is the future, is the next internet. So the earlier you start, the better. Again, if you're ready to work in a startup, now is the time. If you're not ready to work with a startup, don't try.
Yeah, one thing to remember when educating yourself, make sure that the sources you're using are reliable. Because the reason, why we, or depending, on the business model, but why we see a lot of chargebacks and fraud, is because of people who are not educated or they're educated themselves on a certain websites, offering trading returns, brokers, pretty much social engineering schemes and stuff like that. There's like a lot of that. And these guys are just there ready to earn from you because you kind of purchase crypto from them. They promise you $100. They promise you trading returns for $100, like 1,000 in a week. You never get it. You go to that company to basically, get that money back, and then you hate crypto, right? You don't want to get back to it. So there's a lot of scared customers as well out there.
Ida, what's your take on this regarding all the scams and everything? Is the career in Web3 future-proof? Is it?
I mean, wherever there's money, there's scams. That's quite obvious. There is a lot of scams in Web2 as well. Just the people are a bit more educated, so it's more difficult now to get them scammed. But what I would also like to outline, based on the whole educational layer, is I think really good things that we are seeing in the last couple of years, talking about our region, is there is a lot of new Web3 companies emerging from the region, and we are a couple of them, but there is much more, and we are all working very hard on producing the content, educating, and we are here, and we speak your language, and you know us by name and surname. So I think all of us are also very good source of information, because if you are not certain about something, you can actually connect with us on Twitter or at Discord or wherever and ask us a question, and we are happy to help. I mean, this is why we are here, and this is what we are paid for, among everything else, to educate the market, and by educating the market, opening up the market for the further expansion and opening new working opportunities, etc., etc. So maybe to outline this possibility as well.
Yeah, as the last thing before we go to the questions, what's that one advice that you would give to anyone who's thinking about entering Web3 and starting the career there?
I mean, it's not just Web3, it's general in life. There is nothing to lose. You can always go back to what you already know and to the comfort zone of what you are already doing. So I think if you feel at least interest about this, you should try it, and you should try it fast, because also the first mover's advantage is sometimes quite crucial, because the learning curve is super fast. I mean, I'm speaking from my experience. I've entered Web3 professionally full-time less than a year and a half ago. And I see how much I have learned in these 1.5 years in comparison to the last 10 years in Web2. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying this is the place to learn, and to learn fast. So if it intrigues you, just test it out. Like, test it out in your free time, or volunteer, or get an internship, or just apply for a job where it's your expertise. like you said, like if you're an expert in marketing, a lot about marketing for Web3 companies is also Web2 marketing. So, it's also a great way to enter and then to upgrade your marketing knowledge. And like you can become in 1 year from something that you would maybe need 7 years to build a career in Web2 marketing. In Web3, if you are really good and learn fast, like you can get to this point in 6 months or a year, because there is a big lack of huge professionals. And we need to professionalize the industry now moving forward if we want to have massive adoption. So big opportunity to jump in now and get some nice benefits out of it, I would say.
Thank you. Anna Maria, do you have any
Yeah,
advices?
I would just close with one sentence. Just have the open mind approach. And that's really it. It's like trying a new food. If you don't like it, oh well, you tried. You might eat it sometime again if someone makes it better, but depends, right? So that's it.
Ines, do you have anything to add?
I will just say that give it 6 months and be hungry to learn. Whatever you learn, go and verify. And just do it again and do it again. I think that's the best way to learn and to really give it a chance and see if you can do it.
Thank you very much. Please give great applause to all of them. We'll try to go through some of the questions right now for the last 8 minutes. I don't know if any of you will be able to answer this, but there's a question: where can people with legal background and non-tech background find jobs in Web3? So
yeah, I can actually answer that. I mean, my background is like financial crime, so I'm focusing on like from the regulatory stuff, from fin crime operations, money laundering, terrorist financing, risk assessments, fraud prevention, chargeback management. Web3 needs it. Regulations are knocking on our doors every day more and more. So legal is definitely one of the key players there. So any company that is engaging with any regulatory requirements will need you. So
it's definitely not only tech, and
no,
there's something for everyone.
It's definitely not the tech. Tech is it's like a all these companies are like a F1 formula, right? And there's like a lot of guys, when they're entering the thing, and then there's like a lot of guys, like fixing the car. Basically, that's all of us, like tech, legal, ops, support, marketing, sales. Everyone is needed. So
we have a very big tech legal team actually in the foundation of NEAR. So like whichever company or protocol is a bit more serious about what they do, they need huge like lawyers team.
Yeah.
Legal team.
There's a funny question here. Are all Web3 projects a Ponzi?
Of course they are. I mean,
of course. I mean, it's all scam. Anyway,
no,
so
just the ones
forget
that
about
are
this panel.
just the ones that are in the media, because media likes to get clicks on the negative
pay per
stories.
click. Yeah.
But no, probably majority of the projects are actually being built like a normal projects, and then there's a couple of Ponzi's who are ruining the whole reputation. But it's on us. We need to manage the reputation of the industry, all of us together. So
yeah, and also as in the beginning of the whole World Wide Web, there were a lot of scams and everything. So maybe it's the same in Web3 right now. It's still early, and yeah.
So this question is coming from either a fear or,
trolling.
a joke.
A joke, hopefully. Which is also cool.
Yeah.
Ines, there's a question for you. How did you start working in blockchain?
I already had a panel where I shared the story. I used to live in India and I got sick because I had too many spices. So I could burn my stomach. I ended up in a hospital, and now, I was allergic on some things. I didn't know exactly on what. And then we called in Serbia to ask for my medical, this carton and with the ID and stuff inside. And they said no. But it's mine. I need it. I'm in the hospital. And they said no. So, and that's mine. It's my own data. It's regarding my health. And I'm not owner of my own data. So, you can die in the other side of the world just because the state doesn't give you your own data to, cure yourself. So then I started digging into solutions, and that's how I came up on the topic of blockchain, decentralization, right? Some identity, and that's how actually.
That's what motivated you to enter.
That's what motivated me to build the system in the health. That's so I can use my ID anywhere and actually have this medical card with me anywhere.
Yeah, but actually interesting question for all of you. What motivated you to enter the space and to switch from Web 2?
I like new stuff. I like testing new stuff, and I started with investing. I've been investing from 2016, and then I realized like the last year of my corporate work, every free minute I was spending on listening to the podcasts about blockchain, Web3, and I realized this is something that is driving me, that is interesting, and I just like made a decision. I want to go there. I want to enter. I literally said I'm going to be an intern if needed. I don't care. I just want to learn, and I've been in it ever since, and I'm super happy I made the switch.
You don't regret?
Never.
Anna Maria?
Yeah, same. I kind of like new challenges. So whatever I don't know, I like to at least like try to figure out and see how it goes. And maybe I like it, and I guess I did because I'm still here. So yeah.
We tried the food and we liked it.
We liked it. We liked the food. The cook was good.
Yeah.
And the last question, maybe for Ines, but for all of you, if you have anything to add. Do you have an advice on how to get a job in crypto? Do you focus on LinkedIn, CVs, GitHub as a way to build a portfolio? I guess that the person is tech person.
Sorry, can you repeat the first part?
Do you have any advice on how to start to get a job in crypto? Do you focus on building, how to build a portfolio? Do you focus on LinkedIn, GitHub?
It really depends if you're a developer or where you're coming from, but in any case, I would say just start doing something about it. If that means create your own website and start writing content on it, or start giving feedback as a developer on GitHub, that's one step closer. And I would just bluntly say contact all the founders and startuppers, and they will tell you like how to start, depends on the industry you're in. If they don't have the job opportunity for you, they will suggest you where to go, because the whole industry is actually looking for these people that are proactive, that they will come forward and say, hey, I want to learn and I want to start with something. Yeah. So just go and ask, look for it.
I would add just, start sending open applications, because what I've noticed that, companies in Web3 are very happy to receive one. And everyone these days is trying to attract the best talent, and someone will definitely reach out to you, and you'll have that initial interview, and if it goes well, great. Nothing to lose again.
I will just maybe add here, I don't agree with the part the best talent, but I do think the most motivated talent, like people who want to learn and who really want to do something, not necessarily the skills-wise the best, but yeah, I want to learn. I want to do it. Like, give me some chance to do it. I think that's
the best one turns out to be the motivated one as well, right? So
okay,
yeah.
Before we close, do you have anything to add?
I would just say, like, first, it depends on the position you're applying at, because, like, for some positions, you really need to have a pre-knowledge. And then the second thing is, like, if you're very interested in entering the crypto, check out a bit, like, the companies, and then try to get in contact with some of the employees of the company and try to see what they are missing. And when you know what some company is missing, then you can see where you can actually add value, and then you apply. There is like Twitter, LinkedIn, there is like a bunch of Web3 job portals, and there you can see already how this functions. But try to see where you fit, because then the possibility you get the job is also much higher, together with the motivation, etc., etc.
Yeah. And read a lot, because most of these companies are announcing their new projects, upcoming projects, current active projects, and you'll kind of pick up, okay, my skills actually might be valuable here, so send my CV at this point of time, because it might be just the right time.
The time's up, so thank you for the great discussion, and thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Nebojsa.
Thank you.